Okay, welcome back. We're starting our second part tonight, and that one is um, supporting personal well-being in the workplace, and this one's called communication and boundaries. Again, I'll just go through. If you need a toilet break, just excuse yourself. We're very focused on our work safe stuff. So if you want to make sure that if you have any concerns, please point them out to me. Um, Remember that we all learn differently and everyone needs time and space and understanding, and be open to helping others learn as well. And if you've got a phone, make sure it's on silent. And if you need to take a call, just excuse yourself. It's all good. All right, let's get started. So, communication in the workplace. So, this is around following on from what we did with our last one. It's about working out how to communicate. Some of you were talking about this idea that uh, you don't um, you can't say openly how you feel, because people take you wrong, or sometimes we say things and it's like a sledgehammer coming down or something. It's very difficult to find that balance, particularly in the moment when you're trying to deal with a situation. So quite often you may have heard of um, the term, um, the reflective term, where you freeze or you fawn or it's fight or flight essentially. Um, so when you're in that position, when I'm in that position, talking from myself, if I'm pushed into that position, my brain goes completely empty. There's nothing there at all. I can't even form a sentence. So it's really something that I need to work on in myself, that I can communicate. And the previous sessions about talking about our feelings can sometimes be the road to understanding how to navigate that. So, a couple of things that make a great communicator: active listening, fully concentrating, understanding, and responding, um, and actually remembering. Quite often, you'll talk to someone and they'll be formulating their response rather than listening to what you've said. So their response doesn't reflect what you've said. So it's really important to listen actively. Clarify what they're saying. So parrot it back to them. Oh, you're saying X, Y, Z. I understand that you think X, Y, Z. Empathy and emotional intelligence comes back to everything we did in the last session, which is about recognizing other people's perspective and emotions, and building trust with people. Trust, rapport, and culture, they're all part of the workplace need, and the all of that's needed, as we discussed on the road to well-being. Adaptability and audience awareness. That's where you adjust your messages differently, to take on different contexts, different channels, stakeholders. All of that's really important to. So really interesting, in my life as a salesperson, um, was really, I was selling coffee at the time, and to be able to adapt my sales pitch to the different types of people was really the key to success in the role. So it's about being adaptive to, um, some people won't understand what you're talking about. Others will want to know more. So you make your delivery more or less concise to get directly to them. And obviously, feedback, and accountability, making sure we all get plenty of feedback and that we can take those um, that feedback on. So the art of communication, good communication, is all of these things together. Tell me about your communication styles. If I can get you up here, I don't know what's not showing this. Okay, Anisha, tell me about your communication style, what your perception of your communication style is.
I feel like I like being, we did this at our work actually with like how we prefer to be like contacted or like communicated to. I would say that I do prefer like face-to-face communication, like in terms of people coming up to me. I feel like it's just you can relate to people a lot better and you can like interpret their like everything instead of sort of just getting one side of it. And then it's sort of not left into misinterpretation. I don't love like just me personally like texting people. Like I would much rather pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Um, but then again, other people like hate it. Like my cousin is absolutely awful with it. Like I text her and it's about 5 business days to get a response. But then she doesn't like phone calls either. So it's really just different people. But I think, yeah, my communication style is that. And then just, yeah, being respectful and sort of listening intently, like listening to what people say and looking them in the eye, which I think is a good sign that you have been listening properly.
And tell me about how you deal with negative sentiment or um, customers being negative or um, negativity with your managers, or how do you deal with that? How do you communicate in the light of that?
I probably would say like good and bad things, probably more so towards the bad. I feel like with the last session, I tend to like take it personally. And if someone doesn't see my view, like I'll get frustrated. Like I'll never project that really onto that person, but like I will have resentment and then sort of have resentment in everything else I do. So in the bad aspect, I'd say that like keeping that holding on to that resentment when people don't agree with me a little bit.
Yeah.
And then on the good side is like I speak up when things are wrong. Like I speak up if something's not right and I call it out how it is, which I think can be like probably misinterpreted the wrong way a lot of the time, but it's like always coming from the right place.
Excellent. What about you, Bettina?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. I think uh, I'm a I'm a good written communicator. I know that, like, I communicate well in a written sense because I'm just.
Frozen. Well,
Oh, am I? Why am I frozen? Can you hear me?
You're not frozen for me, Niche. Is
Yeah,
it?
no,
Oh,
yeah, it's
yeah,
just
no, sure.
yeah, there seems to be a bit of
Can you
interference.
hear me though?
I can hear you, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's because I've done a lot of writing, communication study. So I communicate well in that way. But if I'm face to face, I would probably describe my communication as open and empathetic. Having said that, in the past, I probably wasn't a very good listener at times. I'd
Okay.
probably say that I was one of those people who was kind of listening, but maybe not actively. I'd be formulating my response and what I wanted to say.
Okay.
And I know where that comes from. I think that comes from growing up not feeling heard. So that was the way I dealt with that by wanting to be heard so badly that it would make me not listen. But I
Yeah.
think I've become more aware of that
So you
with
become more
time.
self-aware.
In that sense, yeah, I think so. And I think my current role, because I'm a peer worker, I have to listen empathetically and I have to listen wholeheartedly. So I'm learning a lot. And yeah, I think that's only been a positive thing.
And I think sometimes the other part of that is where you actually you're in a hurry to get your, trying to find a break in the conversation to get in there. When you just go, if you just lay back and let it happen,
Mm,
I never used to, but I use silence a lot. Um, in a conversation, um, if you're in the middle of saying something and you just, stop in the middle of it, say a sentence and then just are looking at the person, they're like, what's going to come next? And I use silence a lot like that because it also, particularly if I'm doing a face-to-face lesson, quite often there's people being distracted or talking or whatever. And if you go silent, everyone goes, what's happened? And that's really powerful. So yeah, I get that.
yeah, and I think as well, something really nice that I learned when I was studying for this current line of work is and it's probably a key thing in peer work is you hold space, and I think that's a really nice term because you're literally holding space for a person. So that means just sitting, and you don't have to speak. They're not looking for anything from you,
Yeah,
but the important part is that you're sitting and listening to their worldview,
yeah.
um, and you're literally holding that space for them to speak whatever their truth is, without judgment in a safe way.
That's actually a spiritual term as well, and it's
Mm,
around. So I do a little bit of spiritual stuff as well, and holding space for people, like my housemate here is her father is very ill, and so she's in New Zealand, but I make a time every day to think about her and to think about him because he's uh, at the end of his life, and my ex-mother-in-law as well. If you hold
mm,
space for them, it's a really powerful thing where you don't need to get involved, but you can share the load with the people that you're connected to in the sense. It's the same thing you're talking about. Uh, Sometimes sitting with someone in silence is really, and it's a really important part of the human experience.
definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Tess,
Like niche, I definitely prefer face to face or over the phone, because I do know that texts or in words can sometimes be misinterpreted, or at least what I'm trying to get across, because I know that tone definitely matters,
yes, yeah,
um, for me, but also in the sense of like if it's even for me, if it's like feedback or anything like that, it negative or positive, I'd still prefer to hear it face to face, and kind of just have that conversation then and there rather than get an email and think maybe they meant it this way, maybe they meant it this way. But
yeah,
I
yeah.
do that other people prefer emails because I mean, again, with like the whole neurodiverse thing, I do know quite a few people who are autistic, so they enjoy the kind of the written, um, like things to be written out, and then to ask someone else and go, how do you interpret this? This is how I
Yes,
interpreted
yes,
it,
yeah,
rather than face to face, because I know sometimes the people in my life who I know that are autistic have gotten into trouble because they say something back because they've completely misinterpreted what they're saying, or they look angry or confused or anything like that. So I usually do it where I meet people, whatever. If they want feedback face to face, or like if they want it face to face, I'll do it face to face. But also if they prefer text or email or anything like that, I'm happy to do that too.
Tell me about negative feedback. When you're giving them negative feedback in that sense, how does that land? And do you try and sugarcoat it, or you just say, look, this is going to hit really hard, but this is what I think?
I mean, thankfully, I've never really been in a position where I've had to kind of give negative feedback in the sense of like, because I haven't been like a manager or a boss or anything in that sense. But I personally just say it straight, because I don't think, obviously, like I include, this isn't an attack on you at all. This is just, X, Y, and Z at work. But yeah, I would just say it straight, because I think, like, obviously, I hope that people would know that it's coming from a good place and it's coming from this place. And also, if people think it's not fair, or if people think, or if there's a reason for, whatever they're doing and I'm not aware of it, that we have that conversation. And then it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like, I didn't know that, things might have been going on at home, which absolutely would impact your performance.
Yeah.
But yeah, so thankfully I haven't really been in a position where I've had to do that, but we used to have to give kind of like, they called it feed forward, which is essentially negative feedback, just in a fancy label. But yeah, like I personally think it's always important to kind of get checked and kind of check yourself, because I don't think feedback, especially kind of negative feedback, I don't think that's a bad thing, because I think if it's the one aspect that is making your performance drop or making you not pleasurable to be around or work with, like, why wouldn't you want to hear it to fix it? Because you're most likely, at least for me, I've always been completely unaware of that, irritating people.
And that's the thing, that's the point. It's like, well, in most cases, it's given with, maybe not workplace with love, but generally it's given in a sense of, hey, it might work better if you do this, or, whatever. But it's not, I mean, you can tell if it's someone, that is, spends their life doing this sort of stuff just to try and hurt people. You can pretty much see them, and, you can spot them a mile off, really.
Yeah, exactly. And then with those people, you just take it as a grain of salt and then you move on with your day. But I also think it's important, of if you genuinely do like the person and get along with them, and you can tell it's coming from a place of, I know you can do better, so I'm going to tell you now, because how you're behaving right now, or like just whatever you're doing, it's not up to the standard I know you can be, rather than someone just saying like, you're really annoying. And then it's like, well, where is that getting us? That's not really getting us anywhere. That's just you trying to, just being a bit insulting and just trying to get away with it by putting it in a, feedback sense.
Yeah, definitely. Very good. Okay. Right. So I didn't realize this, but there's different types of stress in the workplace. So stress, positive stress that motivates and enhances performance. So this might be sometimes what's elicited by a boss or manager to try and in sales, it definitely is, where you're actually pushed in a way to try and get you to perform better under stress. Distress, which is negative stress, which usually will impair functioning in the work sense. And acute stress, which we've all, I'm sure from what you've said, we've all experienced that. And also chronic stress, we've all felt that too. The idea that, and it folds into what we did in the last session around well-being. Well-being, stress is not a bed partner of well-being. It's something that needs to be titrated taken out of the picture. And in a work sense, it's very difficult to do. So tell me about an example you've all got of each of these stresses. Anisha.
I feel like I've definitely experienced every single one of these in my current role.
Yeah.
For eustress, I probably would say like I enjoy keeping busy, and being like when it's a busy environment, like I think with the job I'm in, it's an absolute shit show. But in if it was a different job, like I actually enjoy keeping busy, like that part is what I like. I prefer that rather to the be sitting around and sort of not knowing what to do with myself. So that's probably an example of that. Um, I wouldn't say acute stress is something I feel like at certain times in my life, but not probably not what I touch on. Like if I'm stressed, it'll be sort of prolonged, I guess. But with distress and like chronic stress, distress, I'd say, yeah, just like with my current job, the workload, like, and sort of not having a work-life balance,
Yeah.
and having people, within my team sort of go part-time, go casual, and then like being the only employee left to sort of pick up everyone's work, like not in a negative sense that those people weren't doing it, but like all the responsibility then falls on myself. And like in a different situation, I would love that because I like keeping busy. But
Yeah.
like how the company like has sort of came about it wasn't very fair, and that sort of left me feeling really um like distress and like ongoing workload, feeling like I can't like switch off really. Um and then for chronic stress, I'd say yeah, long-term stress would be like going for a role sort of twice within internally in the company, and the company giving sort of examples of or doing initiatives like growth plans and sort of bullshitting everyone in a way to be
Baloney.
like,
Yeah, it's baloney, isn't it?
we want to.
I've had a similar thing, Anisha, where they've gone, "Oh, you're the greatest. This is amazing. Love your work," and then it just doesn't. You just go, "Well, no, it just doesn't come off. It doesn't equate to an advantage at all."
I
Um,
think with the just like that chronic stress part, like just being told that, oh, like, this is you know, we're doing growth plan, whatever, this will like sort of a good way to put your like future in place. And then like when those sort of negative things happen, like not getting a few of those roles, it's sort of like just keep doing what you're doing, just keep doing what you're doing. And it's like, okay, but what length does that stop? Because I've been doing what I'm doing, and yeah, I'm not getting anywhere. So it's like that job insecurity would be like the chronic stress. And
yeah.
I probably haven't identified, or I have identified it, but like there's been other factors that have left me too scared to like leave in a way.
Yeah, well, it goes back to what Tess was saying. I always think about it, and I've been in this position, um, being last at the party. You know that thing where you're at a party having a great time, and you just stay for too long, and you go, "Geez, I should have left half an hour ago, and it would have been, better." Um, and it's the same with work. You don't realize it, but you've got to sort of light a fire under yourself and move because uh, there's a peak you may or may not see in the job role, and after it, everything just seems to get harder. So it's about not being last at the party for me, anyway.
I feel like when you have just a workplace that is so like bullshitting like the culture and just sort of saying, oh, we want to help, like, and then you sort of provide this sort of feedback that the workload's too much, there's no work-life balance,
Yeah.
there's no growth opportunity, like I'm stressed all the time, but like they put it back on you and be
Oh
like,
yeah.
maybe you're
Yeah.
too stressed. Like get lost.
Yeah, exactly. No, I've been there too. Bettina.
Yeah, oh, hang on.
You muted yourself, Dal. You were talking and then you muted yourself.
Oh, I'm actually looking at mute and the other. I'm confusing terminology. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I've experienced all of these. So probably for you, stress, it would be literally what it's saying on the slide. I've, felt that preparing for a presentation or a talk
Yeah.
where it is positive stress energy.
Yeah.
And sometimes in my current job, sometimes the goalpost shifts. So I might have to suddenly think of an activity for the consumers on the ward to do. So I might have to almost like quickly do a lesson plan.
Yeah.
And that can be fun, but because I'm doing it in a short time frame, it could be, it's that eustress, trying to get it done quickly. Just stress, negative stress, that can impair functioning. I would say, the example I was using before of working in a high demand environment for a long-term time frame, which ended up having negative consequences for me.
Yes.
Acute stress, I would say that sort of experience with things like when a loved one suddenly becomes unwell because you experience that acute short-term stress until things settle down and it's managed. Like, for example, when mum got sick and went to hospital, that was an acute stress period. But then once she was in hospital and you knew that she was getting care, even though it was bad, it dissipated a little bit. So, examples of that where it's a specific event that makes you stress for a big time, but not a long time sort of thing.
Yeah.
And chronic stress, I've probably experienced that. For a whole range of reasons, could be financial, could be, just stress of, whatever it is. Relationship breakdown, and whatever it is, a big life stressor that gives you chronic stress for a long-term time frame. So, definitely all of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tess.
I would say definitely where Nish and I worked, because we worked within the AFL space. Eustress I would say was when it was 2021, because premiership year, when the team performs well, it was fun stress. There was a lot of work to do, but it was in a really good environment of there's so much work to do because it's all positive. Like, everyone wants to, sign up. Everyone's
hyped up.
Everyone was excited. Like, everyone at the club and the members, like, it was just positive. Distress, like, I've felt it, but not really at work, just in, aspects outside of the workplace. Acute stress, I would say, was when it was probably acute stress was when there was like a big loss to a team that we should have won against. That was very, like, as soon as we saw the score, we're like, oh, fucking hell, like, work's going to be hell tomorrow. And it all was. And then chronic stress, I would just put down to, easiest way would probably be this year and last year, because it was just an absolute shit show, to put it simply. Like, the team wasn't performing well. There was lots of just, like, on-field issues, which made every day so difficult to do your job, because unlike the year when everyone was happy, everyone was just really disappointed, angry, upset.
And so your role is front-facing customer service, essentially.
Yeah.
And so to think that the business doesn't go, we've got to keep these guys pumped and it's important to us, And to sort of drop the ball on that is, really, well, what do? You can't, you
Yeah,
can't do your
and I
best.
don't think we realize, well, at least I think most of us, where when you are front facing, you can't really just, switch off and do your job, because every 2 seconds you're hearing from someone saying how much they essentially hate us. And we're like, okay, well, that's really nice.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, just like day to day, it was just, I think all of us who were front facing, we just got used to being stressed at work, because yeah, it was like no one was happy, and we were hearing it from everyone else, like on the phone and everything, rather than people who worked there and could just see it on social media, but then pop their phone off and then go do their job for whatever they did.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's these things pop up, and it's just part of this balance that we talk about. But sometimes there's ways through it. There's ways of understanding. I've got one in front of me here. We're going to talk about mindful techniques now, fostering well-being at the workplace. So I've got one in front of me when I get really stressed, which happens sometimes. And it's up on my wall here next to the computer, and it says, "Stay grounded using five senses." And you essentially do five things you can see, speak them, four things you can feel, three things you can hear, two things you can smell, and one thing you can taste. And by the time you get through those things, um, whatever you're stressed about is secondary, because you're invoking what we spoke about, the interoception parts of your mind. So your focus is on these things, not on what's making you stressed. And so other ways of doing that is obviously deep breathing, yoga, mindful techniques, visualization techniques to calm yourself. And also evaluating workloads and understanding what can and can't be done in the timeframes. Both Anisha and Tess have said that their jobs have ridiculous, or their past jobs have workloads that don't reflect objectives that anyone can deal with. So they're all short-term things. The long-term, lifestyle changes, exercise, sleep is really important. So sleep, if you don't get enough sleep, your body starts taking actions for itself that essentially aren't good for you for you. Obviously, time management's important. Seeking support and in-house programs. Some companies have in-house programs. All the top companies of the world have programs that are part of their functioning that all talk to this mindfulness techniques, which is fantastic. So yeah, you think of, I don't know if you've seen the Google Workspace. The Google Workspace is a tremendous example of this, where the stress levels, they're all high functioning people, but they use the all stress idea that they are all excited to be part of something big, and that's sort of what drives them and keeps their stress levels down. So one of the techniques we have is box breathing. So box breathing is essentially where you essentially slow your breathing right down. So would you like to do some of this now? Yes, you would.
Oh,
Okay. So essentially, you find a comfortable position, you sit upright, posture wise, feet flat on the ground, shoulders relaxed. You close your eyes. You choose a rhythm. So for beginners, it's 4 seconds per phase. So you inhale over 4 seconds. So let's all do it together. Actually, I'll talk through it first. Sorry. So you focus on expanding your abdomen and you take a deep breath in your lower chest. You hold it for 4 seconds, keeping your body relaxed, and then you shorten the hold for 2 to 3 seconds, and you exhale over 4 seconds. And so at the end of that exhale, sometimes it's good to try and get all the oxygen out of your lungs. Sorry, all the carbon dioxide out of your lungs. And you do this over a minute or so. But we'll just do one of them now. So let's all take, inhale over 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale over 4 seconds. And at the end, just push that last bit of air out of your lungs. Okay, so we just did one of those. Tell me, Anisha, did you feel anything when you did that?
I felt like sort of everything was like silent in a way, like, and I felt like I really relaxed, like when I sort of breathed in and then like let it out, like it just sort of like took some pressure off my shoulders, I guess.
Yeah. So so you felt it in your shoulders and you've obviously felt a change of some kind.
Yeah, it just felt like I was like just taking like a minute to stop, like, and I've just been like going and going like a lot lately, just with a lot of life changes. So I feel like I haven't really stopped. So
And maybe this is something you need to look at just as a to fill in some small gaps during the day and yeah, it might work if it's worked for one and you've only done one of them. Tell
I feel
me,
like I could do it like before bed, like in a dark room,
yeah,
probably be better.
it's a great idea. It's a really great idea because what it does is it's like a preemptive thing to do for your mind. So what happens is a whole lot of things happen to your brain when you do this. And there's more than I can talk about really, but essentially what it does, it puts your body in a position of relaxation. So if and it also allows your brain to take a moment to really clarify. So quite often in moments at the end of this, in moments of doing it, you find a really, if you're looking for the answer to a question, quite often they're there, because you've let everything else go. When you're thinking about what this box breathing process, there's no room for you to think about, oh shit, I've got no milk, I can't have a cup of tea in the morning, or I've got no bread, or what am I going to have for dinner tomorrow night? It all goes out the door because you're physically controlling your breath, and nothing else, which is something that we don't need to control our breath because it's a function that comes through the cerebral cortex as part of the in the brain as part of the standard operating system for our body. It's the breathing, it's the heart rate, all of that is automatic, but this slows it all down and keeps the blood pressure and the blood flow slows, and so you're able to slow down too. Bettina, what did you feel?
Hang on. That's right. Yeah, I found that it completely takes you back to yourself.
Yeah,
So you can only be in that moment, in the now, when you do this breathing. I'm actually, yeah, I do know this technique because I've sort of explained it to some of our patients at work, um, as a technique to help with relaxation and mindfulness. Yeah, and the other thing I notice with me when I do it, it always makes me realize that I've been breathing more shallowly.
Hello. Yeah.
And so when you take that deep 4 second inhale, that's what makes you realize how shallow you've been breathing almost. Like we all breathe, but you don't necessarily realize that you're not breathing deeply. So that makes you do it. And you think, oh, wow, I really just needed that really deep intake of breath to just, slow everything down, like you're saying, Rob.
And the shallow breathing is something we do as humans because we are stressed. We're
Yeah,
stressed and we're in a hurry, and it all holds back, and you go, gee, I feel a bit, you might feel dizzy or whatever. Yeah, but it's a really good point. You don't realize you're doing it. I do it sometimes too. I hear myself shallow breathing and I go,
yeah,
particularly when I'm talking, and I don't have enough air to finish the sentence,
yes,
sort
yeah,
of thing. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Tess, what about yourself?
I'm all over box breathing. Did it this morning.
Right?
Yeah, I love it. I have realized what you said before, the five senses thing does not help me, but I know it helps. I'm pretty sure quite literally everyone else. But to me, that made me feel more stressed when it was like focus on this, focus on this, focus, because I don't enjoy focusing in general. Um,
Yes. Yeah.
Whereas when it's just like, okay, we're going to try something else where you're just going to sit there, shut your eyes, and breathe. That always, really helps me. And so niche, absolutely. I think you should do it before bed because it's just a nice little kind of reset, but also, it just like for me personally, it just calms me down. I do it all the time at work, at uni, no matter where I am. Like if I start feeling I'm getting really anxious or agitated or I'm not focusing very well, I just quickly sit there, do it a few times, and it's just kind of feels like my body just does a little reboot, which is good.
Beautiful. Excellent.
It's actually a really good one to do at the traffic lights too. Because
Yes.
if you're in a rush or things are shitting you, the traffic around you shitting you, everyone's shitting you,
Yeah.
just you're already in that seated position, and it's really good to just do that inward outward thing.
That goes for you, Tess, passenger princess.
Thank you. I was going to say some of us here don't drive, but we have a passenger seat.
That's good sometimes though. You don't have the expense, you don't have I mean,
So good.
yeah, driving in the city sometimes is, particularly when it's wet like it is now, it's very difficult. Okay, so um, some other strategies that businesses can use for fostering well-being: implement regular mental health and stress awareness training, create designated quiet zones or relaxation zones. That's a really interesting one. I used to work for a company called Nestle, and they had these pods in their Sydney office, which were really cool. They were like this wicker ball, and you go in and shut the door, and everyone was walking around you and making noise around you, but it was just almost like a sensory deprivation area, it worked very well. But they also used them as meeting rooms. Go figure. It's like establish clear workload management and realistic deadlines. This is a really hard one because quite often the person that is your manager or managing the workload has the unrealistic framework that they have to try and divvy out to others. So quite often it's not your manager, it's their manager that is a problem. Open communication and create an all of us culture. Now, Tess, that's what you were talking about when the team was winning. It's like, oh, we're all winning. We're all, but it's only ever as good. And I don't understand why sports teams don't understand this, that if there's one broken chain in then it's not going to work. None of it's going to work. And I guess you can see that with the way where you're working is now. It's like there's a lot of broken chains and there's a lot of disharmony and yeah. So the advantages of these things: promotes open communication, positive workplace culture, builds team resilience and cohesion, reduces overall stress, encourages culture of well-being, improves productivity, safety outcomes and morale are all positive, reduces absenteeism. People want to be at work. It's like fundamental thing for people these days, really. And no one, well, the very few workplaces are investing in this. Okay, so you have so this is the activity that we're doing, which is the jot form. Now, if you want to, it should be on your on the last email, and also on the it's called the in a nutshell for this second one. So we're just going to take a few minutes to do that if you haven't already done it. And what it's about is essentially developing in point form a program that encourages well-being. Obviously use the form below to put that together. And that doesn't need to be an exhaustive list. It just needs to be a couple of things about, as the example here, a coffee time put aside for coffee meetups, or every Thursday someone in the team brings a cake in, that sort of thing. So it's 40 minutes a week at work where work is not discussed and that you can just focus on each other and being part of developing the culture. Is that clear to everyone?
So do you want us to do that now, Rob?
Yes, if you haven't done that, if you can do that now, that'd be great.
So we just click on that link there in the slide, or in the, do we have to go back to the email?
I can put this hold on a minute, I'll see if I can.
Might be able to put it in the chat.
Yeah, I'll just have to put in the chat. Hold on. Let me go back. And just see, just give me a minute.
What part is it? Like, what's the bold part say?
Sorry, what was that, Tess? You just broke up.
On like the sheet, you know how it has like, I've got it here, like online in a nutshell. What like bold title are we looking at?
It's the activity for lesson 2. So it'll be only on, there's 2 of the in a nutshell. One's lesson 1, the other one's lesson 2.
Why can't I see the activity?
If you'd like to, we can do it together. If I can find where my
Tess, it's exit lesson ticket lesson 2, if you've got that. I think. On your email.
It's okay.
Hang on, I'm putting it in the Dad, can I put it in the chat?
Yes, please.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
I'm going to lose it if I try and get it out of here. I'm going to lose the thing. So if you can do that, Nisha, would be great.
No worries. Has everyone got it?
Yes.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, so that will say exit ticket at the top, yeah?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So I'll give you say 5 minutes to do that, or call out when you're ready. Okay, how you going?
I'm still a couple more questions.
Okay.
Nearly there.
I am done.
Excellent. Wonderful. How's everyone else going?
I'm done.
Great. Bet?
I'm done. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Great. Now, that's the end of our session. So in a nutshell, is resources for you to look at if you want to read articles or look for books or want to take it any further. So have a look through all that after the session. There's also obviously the consent forms. If you haven't done it, if you could just do the jot form for the consent. And it's really important, the trainer evaluation, which is on the last email that I sent you. If you could fill that one out, then it would be amazing. And I really appreciate, I'm just going to stop this, hold on. And that, I really appreciate your, I'm not sharing it, am I now?
Yeah, you're sharing the pre-work stuff.
Oh, yeah, all right. I'm going to say stop share. I really appreciate your time, and I hope you've got something out of the session. And yeah, it's all good. It's a bit of a journey, well-being, but something we all need to keep working at. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Speak to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.